The last Russia-U.S. nuclear arms control treaty, known as New START, is due to expire on February 5th. Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed that the two sides stick to existing warhead limits for one more year to buy time to work out what comes next. On Tuesday, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov warned that time was running out.
For the first time, Russia and the US, the two countries with the largest nuclear arsenals, will now have a basic document that limits and controls these arsenals. We believe this is very harmful for global strategic security. Our proposal remains on the table for the remaining days before the treaty expires.
U.S. President Donald Trump has not formally responded to Putin's offer. He said in January that if it expires, and that the treaty should be replaced with a better one. New START was signed in 2010 by U.S. President Barack Obama and Dmitry Medvedev, an ally of Vladimir Putin who served a single term as Russia's president.
Finally, this day demonstrates the determination of the United States and Russia, the two nations that hold over 90% of the world's nuclear weapons, to pursue responsible global leadership.
It set limits on strategic nuclear weapons, the kind that each side would use to strike the opponent's vital political, military, and industrial centers in the event of a nuclear war. The number of deployed strategic warheads was capped at 1,550 on each side, with no more than 700 deployed ground or submarine-launched missiles and bomber planes, and 800 launchers. The treaty text says it can only be extended once, and it already was in 2021 under former U.S. President Joe Biden. Now it's expiring, leading to Putin's push for a year-long informal agreement. If Moscow and Washington cease observing mutual limits on their long-range nuclear arsenals, it will mark the end of more than half a century of constraints on these weapons. Prokhor Tebin is head of the Center for Military and Economic Research at Moscow's Higher School of Economics. He says the current treaty is central to preventing nuclear